kepada panelis pula. I would like to introduce T.S. Dr. Muhammad Hairul bin Othman from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, speaking on kerangka strategi kolaborasi perkhidmatan kerajaan elektronik bersepadu menerusi pendekatan keseluruhan kerajaan. Silakan, Doktor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum, selamat datang semua. Kena tukar tune sikit lah. Tadi terlalu saintis kan. Although saya daripada background teknologi juga, but in my research I did a lot of we call social science background. So tajuk saya kerangka perkhidmatan kerajaan elektronik bersepadu menerusi pendekatan keseluruhan kerajaan ataupun dalam bahasa biasanya dikenali sebagai whole government, WOG. Alright, sebenarnya saya kali terakhir tengok slide ni 2 tahun lepas. Sejak 2 tahun saya tak tengok slide ni. Dan saya simplifykan slide ni untuk memudahkan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan faham dalam tempoh 15 minit lah. Alright, dalam introduction, basically this is part of my research paper dan juga thesis. So encompasses of 4 main components on the introduction, which is kata on the latar belakang on background of the e-government. So as we know, the government started since 1998. A lot of changes on the policy of the government, especially on the implementation of the e-government. So although we have spent a lot of budget and money in the government system and the initiative, but until now the penetration of the government to the citizen is still remaining low. Maksudnya penerimaan rakyat terhadap perkhidmatan di kerajaan ini masih lagi di peringkat rendah. So government telah spend a lot of budget every year. Kalau kita tengok kan, dalam budget yang akan diumumkan dalam tempoh beberapa bulan lagi, e-kerajaan ataupun IT ni antara bajet yang terbesar dikeluarkan oleh kerajaan selain daripada nama medical, dalam bidang pertahanan dan juga education. Tapi apa yang membimbangkan kita, tahap penerimaan rakyat terhadap perkhidmatan kerajaan masih rendah. Because the main issue is kebanyakannya yang tekan tentang there is no single platform for rakyat to reach the government services. Still work in silo, right? Most of agencies still work in silo, although we have spent a lot of money in developing a system, very good system, to establish integration across the agencies, but in reality, kebanyakan agensi kerajaan still work in silo. That's why I come up with this research we call as a whole government. WOG ni basically is a concept untuk kita establish the collaboration across the agency. It's not a new concept coined by the government of Malaysia. It's actually already been used in a few government, especially in EU countries. So untuk menyelesaikan isu berkaitan dengan dasar dan polisi kerajaan, berkaitan dengan isu berkaitan dengan keselamatan dan sebagainya lah. Tapi the same concept WOG ni telah mula diperkatakan sejak zaman 5 ke 10 tahun lampau di negara kita lah, iaitu dibawa oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak ketika itu, right? So dipanggil sebagai NBOS ataupun National Blue Ocean Strategy. I think working with it, tak tahu lah NBOS apa kan. But the terms is actually evolved when one country is develop a new terminology we call as WOG. So dalam konsep WOG ni saya gunakan untuk kita dapatkan satu coordination across the agencies to make sure every agencies will eliminate the silo, and at the end of the day kita akan dapat satu integrated services across the agencies. So saya juga ada menceritakan tentang e-government transformation. So kita tahu tadi saya nyatakan banyak kewangan ataupun bajet dikeluarkan untuk kerajaan. Tapi year to year banyak juga transformasi diperkenalkan untuk kita enhance dari segi perception dan juga penerimaan rakyat terhadap perkhidmatan kerajaan. That's why saya masukkan dalam cerita saya dan dalam saya punya laporan lah ataupun dalam saya punya jurnal. Nanti kalau tuan-tuan dan puan mahu dapat perincian boleh baca dalam jurnal tersebut lah. Right, dan how actually we can establish we call as an integrated e-government platform. So this is very important. This is my final result, which is I provide the ecosystem, the framework that can be used by the agencies to establish the connectivity, the connection and the coordination across the government agencies. Okay, dalam rungkai isu berkenaan di kerajaan ni, saya ada membuat beberapa kajian literature dan juga literature review ataupun SLR juga saya ada masukkan konsep dia untuk melihat apa isu sebenarnya yang berlaku dalam di kerajaan. So, dalam masa yang sama saya gunakan tools juga. Saya gunakan di sini adalah Google. Saya pun dah lupa Google apa ni. Google Trend. Dah 2 tahun lebih tak tengok. This is a Google Trend. You can use this Google Trend tools to compare on each factors that contribute to the issues on e-government, right? So, boleh Google juga macam mana Google Trend. So from here, actually, I can find out what is the common issues, what is the orang kata prominent issues that are related to e-government. When you look at the screen, the main issues actually related to jurang digital and integration is very high. Almost 15 papers talking about the integration of the government. So this is the core issues yang berkaitan dengan kerajaan. Dalam masa yang sama banyak isu lain lah. Tapi this is the core, how to justify and why actually this research started because of this issue lah. Dalam masa yang sama juga saya lihat juga isu ni daripada negara luar. So dalam dengar sikit, saya ada masalah sinus because ada masalah kesihatan sikit. So this is a issues related to related countries yang kita dah extract daripada data ni. So not in Malaysia. The related issues also berlaku di a few countries macam Australia, Singapore. This is a developed countries. Kita developing countries kan. So it's not local issues, it's global issues, right? And now we're not just talking about the organizational integration across our government, but now we are talking about how we can integrate with the other parties in Asian countries and the outside borders. So it's very huge issues when we're talking about the whole government concept. And these are the reference I made on the whole government. So you can read from here. So dan dalam kita punya future government 2030 pun ada disebutkan tentang whole government concept by UN countries, right? This is by UN DESA, United Nations Development. Dan dalam kita punya 12th National Plan pun 2021-2025 also discussing about the whole government concept. Saya menggunakan qualitative research yang mana kita start dengan 4 fasa, iaitu theoretical study. It's more like kita buat research on desktop research dan literature review, empirical research. This is how we call I validate all these factors gathered from the theoretical studies. This is by interview and the expert group validation, right? Then after all the factors were validated, and I go to the development of the research atau development of the framework. This is actually the very crucial part. After we getting all this information, all the factors and elements, and then we develop the framework. This is a common framework you can refer from few researchers. Then the final stage is the penilaian. Penilaian we call as expert review. So the expert actually identified based on the experience and the background. Most of them is from the government and the private sectors who actually already implemented the government integration their organisation and across the sector. Kesemua maklumat yang saya dapat ni sebenarnya mencapai kepada objektif. The objective of the research is actually to provide guidance ataupun guideline to the agencies and for the government in order to establish the integrated government platform, right? So setelah melalui kesemua fasa ni, so successfully saya dah come up dengan satu kerangka untuk rujukan semua. A bit explanation on the kajian theoretical. As you can see on the screen here, so I did a research on 3 major factors ataupun components which consists of e-government, regarding the e-government integrated platform, collaboration, what is the collaboration and how we can establish collaboration. It's not just we call it understanding on the sectoral, but essentially how we can work and collaborate using the technology that we have. So already implemented in this a few countries, such as the UN. And the last one is the related to whole of government ataupun keseluruhan kerajaan. So these are the input I gathered from the kajian theoretical, right? So then the evolution of e-government started from 1990 plus. A few model has been introduced on e-government evolution. So from here, actually, I did a comparison on which factors that we should consider and look in depth in order to establish the integrated e-government platform. And finally, this is second step of the research, which consists of the process in data gathering, coding, memo writing, and the sampling. This is all the strategi ataupun SOP dalam kita punya kajian empirical lah. Hampir terlupa 2 tahun tak buka thesis. Tapi boleh buka thesis saya nak tengok macam mana saya setting dia. So basically this is a grounded theory lah punya approach, grounded theory which we kumpulkan semua pakar, all the experts we gather in the focus group discussion, and then we ask them their opinions and their based on their expertise to confirm that our factors and elements are valid, right? A few session dalam interview and the focus group discussion have been made, and finally I have confirmed a few factors as can be seen in this screen. This is my final framework. It consists from the human, process, and the technology factors. These are 3 factors that commonly used by the researcher. We call it as a golden triangle model, right? So you can use these factors or golden triangle model in whatever research you did. So this is a common research. I try to map all these factors and elements under the golden triangle model. So which these factors are classified using the aspect, process, people, and technology. So from here you can see this is a process flow. Actually, how by reading this framework one by one, you can, I believe that you can establish the coordination and the collaboration across the agencies. That's why they started with the people here. So people consist of the top management, the practitioner, the technical people who involved in e-government development, and then the process from the early research and the identification of the issues until the execution. As you can see from the screen, all this process are required to ensure the coordination will be a success in future. And finally, from the theoretical factors, it consists of 3 major components or factors, which is hub integration. This is normally it's a platform how you can use to establish integration across the government sectors and agencies. And then, for sure, we need infrastructure, right? And security part is something that we need also to tackle in this establishment of integrated e-government. So, by reading this whole framework, these 3 factors are actually coordinated each others, right? So, yang kecil-kecil ini dah ada punya elemen. So nak zoom nanti boleh tengok dalam saya punya paper lah. So ini yang terakhir lah. Then these are the advantage of this kajian. So I have established we call as whole of government framework, integrated and holistically for the governments, right? The second thing is this framework can be used by the government agencies. Kalau semua masih ingat 2000 tahun lepas, December 12 Desember 2012, so our Prime Minister has announced establishment of Ministry of Digital dan Jabatan Digital Negara. Saya daripada Jabatan Digital Negara, previously known as Mampu. Now I working in the Kementerian Digital 12/12/2023. One of the major concept of Jabatan Digital Negara itu to establish the whole government across the agencies. These are the concept yang digunakan lah. Right. Maksudnya sekarang ni barulah kerajaan kita mula memahami dan menggunakan konsep WOG bagi mendapatkan kerjasama. Kenapa our Prime Minister terima this idea? Because by having this understanding, by having this model, so every agency can coordinate and can optimize the use of resources, money and so on. Thus, we can reduce pada mata dari segi penggunaan wang, sumber yang tidak dioptimumkan. That's why our Prime Minister setuju untuk transform Mampu kepada JDN supaya dapat dipusatkan ke semua dari segi perbelanjaan dan projek-projek ICT. Macam saya nyatakan awal tadi, projek ICT ini antara projek yang menanam belanja yang sangat tinggi, dan jika tak dapat dikoordinat dengan baik, so sukar untuk kita capai matlamat dia lah. End up nanti dah belanja tinggi, rakyat masih tak satisfied. By having this concept, so actually we try to engage all the agencies in the same pipeline. We coordinate from the top, not from the bottom up, but the initiative is actually from the top to bottom. Right. For future research, so cadangan saya adalah untuk kita khususkan pada domain perkhidmatan berbeza. I was in a few, we call this conference previously in India. So India is very good in planning and strategizing on the implementation of the government. Kalau you tengok India punya kerajaan kan, dalam apa-apa inisiatif from the government sampai kepada emerging technology, AI and whatsoever, artificial intelligence, dia fokus pada 3 domain saja, iaitu healthcare, education dan agriculture. Compared to Malaysia, so kita nak tackle semua, which is agak susah lah. That's why saya learn something from negara-negara yang start membangun. So I need to focus on very specific domain to make sure kita boleh success in our implementation. We can plan big, but the best is we start strategically, step by step. Tak boleh nak tackle semua at one time, right? That's why saya cadangkan supaya boleh fokus pada industri ataupun sektor domain yang lebih kritikal, right? And then kajian ni boleh diperluaskan di peringkat global, right? So actually last year I have presented we call it a sustainability e-government platform. Walaupun topik ni taklah rocket science kan, something yang can be done, but in reality masalah tak selesai. You're talking about the cross integration among the AMS atau Asian member countries, and we're talking about the cross collaboration to ensure every countries we can use a SIM ataupun one single passport and ID, but until now tak ada yang berlaku. That's why saya cadangkan supaya kalau ada pengkajian berminat, so you can look at from the global perspective. Actually this topic also has been highlighted in the UN DESA dalam dia punya laporan UNEGDI, United National E-Government Development Index, yang menjelaskan kepada penglibatan rakyat kerajaan dalam konsep portal. And the final one is kita nak perincikan komponen technical interoperability. It's more on technical factors. So saya dah sebutkan tadi 3 main components on the technical factors, but it's quite broad. Saya tak fokus pada elemen technical, tapi this is something that we can discuss in future. How actually we can, because in government, although we have a lot of systems, one of the problem is the system cannot be communicated with each other because of different language they are using in their independent system. So maybe by having this integrated ataupun interoperability in details, technically we can solve this problem. Inilah saya punya penghasilan dalam tempoh 2016 saya buat PhD, 2020 saya habis. So So saya dapat hasilkan paper ni lah berkaitan dengan tronic government system interoperability. Role of government critical success factor towards integrated government, dan juga yang bawah ni yang paling tinggi ni yang bawah ni. Sebab apa? Bagi tips sikit lah. Satu minit kan? Sebab apa anda rasa yang tiga ni paling hits tinggi? Senang. Doktor mana? Because this paper touch about SDG. So kalau you nak dapatkan hit yang tinggi dalam paper you, tajuk you kena kecil lah. Biasa-biasa je paper ni. Key factors of government towards sustainability development goal. You try to mapping dengan SDG, right? And finally, this is my journey. So one of the Datuk Professor, he's a mantan professor lah. He said to me that the PhD is a process. The most important is what actually you write on your thesis. So this is my process. Lepas saya dengar dia punya kata-kata hikmah ni, saya terus terperanjat. Because I did a lot of process. Jumpa orang lah, belajar, pergi conference petang sini. Tapi my thesis tak siap. That's why I terantuk, okay. So I got back and then I start writing my thesis. And finally, alhamdulillah, saya bawa tahun 2021. So itu saja daripada saya. Terima kasih. Any question?
Anybody who would like from the floor to ask questions? This is a very interesting area, kan?
Assalamualaikum, Doctor. Okay, my name is Ismawati. I'm currently doing PhD in quite a similar topic with doctors. I'm very much interested in human factors in the whole of government approach. So my question is, what do you think that civil servant, what are the skills and competencies required from the civil servants to effectively functions in this whole of government approach? Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you for the question. Okay, if you look at from my left, this is human factors, right? So these are the, we call this responsibility of the government in a public servant. Starting from the decision makers, we are part of the researcher, right? Kita semua adalah researcher. That's why saya kumpulkan ni as a researcher team ataupun pasukan penyidik. And this is CIO now. We know as a CDO. Everybody of us as a government servant must be together involved in this framework. Not from the technical people like me. I am a technical people. So somebody else from the decision makers, maybe you are policy makers, maybe you are from the SME, we call subject matter experts, need to be involved in this framework. Together with the PUU lah. PUU apa? Pegawai undang-undang, kan? These are the responsibility of us, of all the public sectors, official, to ensure the success of these sectors. Semua kena terlibat from the top until the juru audit pun ada. Because juru audit ni penting lah untuk make sure apa yang you buat ke atas ni semuanya akan berjalan dengan lancar.
Thank you for the question. Thank you, Dr. Hairul. Just to sum up here, so a few things yang Dr. katakan, which is so true, is the fact that he talked about interoperability, which maybe kita belum achieve to that level, kan? He talked about citizen-centric service because of our own level of trust or non-distrust on the kind of services, which I think is pretty unfair, kan? If we look at it, because every time we look at it, it's just that I think one of the major aspects would be interoperability. Other than that, especially during COVID, Doctor, we all use MySejahtera. I know MySejahtera had a lot of data issues later on, but at that point of time, at the point of crunch, we could see how medical services came about with My Sejahtera, and it's useful till today. So I think public trust needs to be built, that kind of framework that Doctor talked about. I just have one question, which Doctor, you answered earlier, and you talked about India. But if we now ask you, point to one country where we can model, is there such a country, Doctor?
Actually, we have a few. In my research, I made a research from the few countries such as Denmark, UAE as well, India, Singapore, near Singapore. If you want to make a comparison among the country, I think the nearest comparison is Singapore. Because Singapore already implemented the e-government earlier than us, and Singapore actually followed whatever did by the UK government. Singapore bring the same model by UK government in Malaysia, and a lot of countries actually referring to the UK government model. We call it as a GDS, Government Digital Services Model. So the same consultant who did and developed the e-government ecosystem in UK bring the model together the experts to the Singapore government. But now we are referring to the Singapore, we call it as a GovTech. That's why if you maybe notice that recently government of Malaysia already established we call it as a GovTech model in Malaysia. Right.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you. So once again, very insightful, kan? Talking about a concept like e-government and things like that is not a topic that can actually be done in 15 minutes ke half an hour. So I think like Dr. Hairul and the other speakers, all their papers are there, and I think we should read them. I've read them, and I think it's very, very interesting. I think a lot of work e-government kind of initiatives need to be done, especially in the concept of artificial intelligence, especially.